To be able to land the ship safely on the ice, what you're going to want to do is build yourself a little platform. So we're going to need iron for that. So what I'm going to do is just going to go back and farm a little bit of that iron, because we're going to need quite a bit to build a half decent platform. And plus as well, we're going to want... Oh, good God. I keep sneezing and coughing today. Not only are we going to want iron, we are going to want quite a few other resources, because we're going to want to be able to build hydrogen thrusters. So the plan for this is to build a little landing pad that I can put this on, maybe build it into a little base. But what I really want to do is show how quickly you can get into space. Because once you can get into space, you can go and farm anything you need. Okay, so we are sitting like right above that iron bomb. We're not even sitting right above the iron, but it's so close to the ship, it's fairly easy to jump down there. Iron and nickel are kind of two of the resources you're going to use a lot. Silicon, the more rare resources are used for other things, but you're going to want a supply of those as well. Just right, here we go. Where's that iron? Just right there. Now, it's quite easy to tell when you've hit iron because it's red. There we go. Now, if you plan to actually go for hydrogen ships, you are going to want a lot of ice, which is why I'm not being picky when I pick things up. And as you can hear, more dogs. This is why those things are so damn important. Inventory full. That's where the corpses. Where you at, corpses? Where you at? Can't actually see them. Oh, well. Now that is actually quite a ridiculously small amount of iron that I've got there, even though it's saying, you know, almost 7,000 iron. Yeah, it's not actually a lot of iron. And I didn't check how much hydrogen I have. I think I'm okay. Now, it is important when you're on a planet, or actually really in any situation, is to not have your thrusters on or your jetpack on unless you really need to have it on. Because that is like the one thing that you can't do without, apart from obviously oxygen. On a planet, oxygen isn't such a big issue. As that's 15k of iron that is cooking. As you can see, it's 2k give us 1k of actual iron. It's not a huge amount, but it gives me enough to go assembling, and we'll assemble a couple of hundred of them, and I am going to go and start building a landing pad. So let's grab that into there. Let's check my hydrogen situation. Now, unfortunately, to build those hydrogen bottles, you do need silver, so you don't really want to get yourself killed too easily. Easier said than done, I suppose. Right, so I'm going to put these down here. Now, this is another reason why building on the ice is quite a good idea, is you have enough space, well, enough flat area to build what you want without having to mess around. It would help if I'd actually put it low enough for me to jump on it, but oh well. Let's just get that basic cross section done to start off with. Now, to build these things, as you can see here, I'm just throwing them down. What you do actually get is you get rotational indicators. I'm sure you saw them when I was holding the block to build. I hear you, dogs. Now, this is, to be honest, even with that thing up there shooting the dogs, this is actually one of the hardest things to do. Look at that, bastards. And to be perfectly honest, I think it's a little bit over the top. It's like, how are there so many dogs on a planet with no other fucking fauna? Well, flora. No, fauna. Flora and fauna. My bad. And the other annoying thing is I now can't actually build here because the dogs are in the bloody way. Ugh. I do have to admit, these walls do add an element of danger to the situation, but seem a little bit over the top sometimes. It's like, okay, so A, how do they know where I am? B, why do they travel for miles to get here? And C, why do walls have fucking parts on them? Why? Look, I can't build there because that wolf. Great. Fucking great. Right, okay, so I've started building something that I could potentially land the ship on. Now I just realised as well, I want to put... I'm kind of going back this in the wrong way. You know, I'm happy to sit here doing this, but actually it's probably not the best way to actually show to get started. The next thing I'm going to have to go and look for is some resources to make a reactor. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a little base there, and I'll put some turrets around it, and that will just ensure that I can just plonk the ship down on there. It will be safe, and then the turrets will keep everything all happy and Larry. Happy as Larry. Happy and Larry, Jesus. I talk good, I does. Honest. So, how are we doing on the resources? So, we are building quite a lot of uranium. That would be fine for a bit. So, now we need to go and look for silver and gold. We know there's cobalt and nickel over here. So, once again, let's go and have a look at those other dark patches. There's one over there. Ooh, that meteor storm was close. Damn. I wonder if they actually dropped any resources. Just gonna have a looky. Right, guys, so I didn't find any precious metals I needed over here. I think that's all of the dark patches on the ice done. So let's see if I can find somewhere else that might potentially have stuff. Let's see if I can show you some of the other markers for this sort of stuff. Right, so we'll go up here first. So when you first start off the game, it will be kind of hard to tell the difference between the different types of ore. So for example, here, can you see... Well, so here, for example, this is just two different types of terrain. This is not a darker part on the terrain. Whereas if I go over here, I think I saw one over there. I do really love that sun flare, but it's a bastard to see sometimes. Right, okay. So as you can see here, is you've got right in front of me, there's a yellowy sort of terrain, and then there's a brown terrain sort of interspersed in it, whereas the vibrant green. So what you're really looking for is you're looking for duller versions of the colours, essentially, more than anything. So if you see yellow going on to green, that's not an indicator. But if you see yellow going on to brown, that's an indicator. And as you can see, like that's obviously leading into something under there. There's magnesium, but I know where magnesium is. Magnesium, uranium, silicon. Nope. I went and farmed some magnesium earlier on. So... nothing there of note. What do we need? So let's see what we can see around here. Now sometimes you will be flying around and you'll be sort of going over mountaintops and things like that, and you will notice that there is stuff underneath. So I mean, I don't know if that's just a case of quite often it's maybe the rock, it's just coming out. The marker is coming out of rock formation. You can't quite see it, or I don't know, or maybe it's just it's just something I'm not aware of. But going for these dollar spots on the landscape is usually a very good indicator of where you should be looking. So as you see up on that mountain there, you can just about make it out. There's a dark spot right ahead. But whereas there's a silicon one right there below us, which was very hard to make out. Oh, you can just about see it. But silicon and magnesium. Now you do tend to have corresponding types of veins. So you'll often find silicon, magnesium, and uranium all together. You'll often find iron with gold and silver, but you also often find just iron deposits, iron and nickel, iron and cobalt. If you can find iron, nickel, and cobalt like I did earlier on, that is very useful. But really, once you've got uranium, it's just a case of just going around searching and having a look at what you've got. Now, obviously, I have probably got more of a capacity. Cobalt and silver, more of a capacity to get what I need quicker because I did set the speeds faster on there. This is actually quite a weird spawn for me. Actually, I very rarely see silver, cobalt, and uranium, so I'm going to mark this one up, get a little bit lower. Let's just level off a bit. Try and get ourselves right above the silver. Now the reason you don't want to go too far below is, as you see, I'm just about to smack into it there. Right, so let's make sure we are leveled off. Just pull back a little bit. And there we go, leveled off. Park the car, so to speak. Jump out, should be fairly okay there. Let's mark this spot. GPS, new from current position, and it is magnesium. Oh no, silver, which is Ag, magnesium, and uranium. There is the silver. Actually, I need to check what do I need for a reactor. So I want to put a reactor onto that landing pad. Reactor components. Let's just double check what that is. Is it actually silver? You do want silver for your... You want the reason I've gone here for silver is that you want your bottles at least do require silver. So let's see, reactor components is silver. Okay, that's cool. So definitely is silver, and we are definitely going to need cobalt as well. I think I've marked this up wrong. Ooh, silver! Yay, pretties! Oh, it's silver, cobalt on uranium, isn't it? Okay, right.
Inventory full.
Oh, I'm about to do something that may get myself killed. I'm going to drop this stone. That may... Oh, no, didn't kill me. It used to be that if you drop stone, sometimes it would glitch out, like, because when you dropped it, I'm sure when I dropped that, I'm sure that you saw that was quite a large hunk of stone there.
Inventory full.
Drop some more stone that I've picked up. As you see, it's quite a hefty chunk. Now this game actually does deal with things like mass. So when it comes to actually travelling around here, on a planet for example, you do actually have to deal with the mass of your ship getting a little bit, well, uncontrollable. And it's not uncommon to say build a ship that feels all nice and easy to maintain, and then you go into the ice or something like that and you go and dig yourself out a load of stuff a couple of 100 tons later and you're suddenly crashing. What I want to do is going to make sure that all of these have still got 50 in them. Now there is the concept of sort of farming the wolves that attack you, but to be honest, this early in the game, that's really not worth trying to do, because you'll just be sitting around forever. They do attack fairly regularly, but if you build yourself if you go for that strategy to start off with, it's like, yeah, not really worth it. Now you'll also notice with these precious metals as well is the amount that you have really doesn't translate anywhere near to the amount you're going to get out of it. So if I put this silver in there, you see we're getting like 1. So from, okay, about 100 silver, we've got like 10 ingots out of it. Right. So now I need to get some cobalt, I need to go back and get nickel, and that should be good to build both the base, and I plan to convert this into a hydrogen ship. Right, so I have got a load of stuff on the cook here. Gone through the silver, got a bit of cobalt going. I need to put a bit of nickel in there, but we'll do the iron first. Let's see how much cobalt we've got. 123 cobalt. Once that nickel starts to cook, actually I'll do it now. So what I'm going to do is I want to make this a landing platform where I can land this down. It's going to be safe, so I'm going to make a sort of circular area, but I'm also want to have eventually I would like to have a refinery and assembler and things like that on there. First things first though, to power all that I'm going to need a reactor, so just click down here, so make sure you've got the large blocks, small reactor. Right, should have more than enough iron in there. Iron, cobalt, gravel, silver. Yeah, got more than enough of that. Right, we're going to need at least 1, 2, 3, 4, probably about 10 interior turrets. Now you could make these Gatling turrets, which I would plan to do in the future, but just to get things done quickly, I was going to make some interior turrets. So let's there we go. Just make 10 of them. There we go. Now what I should be able to do is just grab pretty much everything that's here out of here. Now remember, this is because this is going so fast because I do have this on 10 times speed. If you wanted something that's, you know, a little bit more realistic and a little bit more of a challenge, you could do it on, you know, sort of realistic speed. But I would say that even on times, I think it's times 3 speed or times 2 speed, it gives you the option of it. Even with that, if you then go and put all sort of modules on stuff, it's still going to be quite slow to do things. For a good casual game, this is, you know, honestly, this is the setting I would go for. Right, okay, so if I've got enough room, I can grab it all. Sweet. Right, now I also made a few more bits of ammo. So, first things first, let's just get uranium cooking, because we want to make sure we've got enough stuff there. So let's put away a bit from the mountainside. So, oh, didn't we do that? That was bad. That could have been real bad. Right. Okay. Spin around so we can see this.
Meteor storm inbound.
Damn, that's 2 meteor storms in like the last 5 minutes. Now, I don't think meteor storms can actually hit you while it's nighttime, because I believe on this they only come from the direction of the sun. Right, okay, so first things first, let's get our basic defences down. I'm also going to need a few more steel plates, as many as I can grab. There we go, that'll do. Oh, also going to want to grab, right, just put the reactor down first. Yeah, I hear you little shits. Right, there we go. Right, get the reactor down. Now, it probably would be wiser to have this reactor facing downwards like that, because then what you can do is build a conveyor underneath it. There we go, that's that. Right, so now the reactor's built, I'm just going to right click and grab 5 uranium, just so that we do actually have power down there. There we go. Now, let's go do this. Right, we now have power. Now let's build a couple of turrets here to keep the reactor safe first. There's one there, and one there. We'll put 50 ammo in each of these. And once I upgrade this a bit, I will probably put Gatling turrets out. Oop, don't want to put 520 in there. 50, there we go. Alright. So, these should keep me relatively safe. I need to make a fairly big landing area, so I probably need to extend this out a bit more. Righty, there is a little landing pad. It's got a reactor on it. It can control turrets, but I don't think that's fancy enough. I need to make this more fancy. What I'm going to grab is there we go. We want some interior lights. Right, okay. Yeah, we'll do one. So it's important to do these in order so you know what the colour of the light is that you're working with. There we go. Turn that way, and turn that way, and turn that one that way. Right. We'll do the same again. So it'll be the first 4 will be our first set of lights. Second 4 will be our second set of lights. Right, now we have basically 4 rings of lights effectively. I'm going to go to here. I'm going to grab all of our interior lights. We've got interior lights 1, 2, 16. There we go. Right, okay. I've grabbed turrets by accident as well, because I are too smart. Right, colour. First of all, we're going to make this green. A nice vivid green. And now what we want to do, now it gets funky. So we have to set them all to a blink interval of, we want something that's divided by 4, so we'll say 8 seconds. It has, I have noticed it's a bit funky. I don't know if it's because I'm using a mouse, a gaming mouse. I don't know. There we go. 8 seconds. And we'll set the blink length to 25% of that. Right, okay. Ish. There we go. Now we have to play around with the offset. So we want the last lights to have an offset of 0. So we can leave the last 4 numbers. Now the next 4 numbers we want to have an offset of 75%. That'll do. The next 4, we want to have an offset of 50%. I may have done these in the wrong order, but we'll find out momentarily. That's as close as I can get to 50%. And the first 4, we want an offset of 25%. Let's see how this works out. Get to 20. There we go. Oh yeah. Now it's fancy. I think that's too slow though. I think we need to set them to... Now we've done all the numbers, doesn't matter too much. Let's go control panel from here. Grab our interior lights. We'll set the blink interval to 4 seconds. That should make it faster. There we go. There we go. That's what a landing pad should look like. A highly armoured and dangerous landing pad. I still don't think that's fast enough. You notice I'm spending more time pissing around with the lights than I am everything else, but here we go. Got to make it look pretty. Right, interior lights, 9. Okay, we'll take the blink interval down to 3 seconds. 2.9 seconds works. That's it. That's the daddy. Right. Let's land our new pad. Right, okay. Most important thing here is before you try and do this, go on the ship. Now, as you can see, you've got 2 markers here. Sort of your these would automatically be do this, and it's locked and unlocked. Now, what we want to do first of all is grab all of the landing gears. We want to set auto lock off. You do not want them attaching to the planet. Okay, so now I'm gonna very carefully position this. What I really want to do is go over there a bit and then line ourselves up by eye. There we go. Let's turn around. There we go. Let's get ourselves roughly centered. That'll do. Bring it down a bit. A bit too far down. Now here's the moment of truth. Did I make it big enough to fit those landing gears on? I think I did. Pretty sure I did. Can you hear the confidence? Right. There we go. It's not quite centered. Okay. Now also, if you get yourself lined up and you don't want to mess up the... Oh, I haven't made it big enough. Don't think I've made it big enough. I think I've gone done fucked up. Here we go. This is going to be a very, very snug fit. Oh, have I? Like a boss. Oh, I'm really impressed with myself for doing that. Think I need a slightly bigger landing pad, people. Slightly bigger landing pad.